And good morning, I am Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
And Myron Pitts is on his way, and we are
MP3. How you know he on his way?
You know, he said...
I didn't see anything say he's on his way. That was me. They said I was late.
Oh, running late.
He may or may not be on his way. We can say that for the audience. He may or may not be on his way. He might not be kept.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Which is okay with me. You know, we'll deal with it either way.
Yeah, more microphone time.
Yeah.
More microphone time. So that works out for everybody. But did you have a good week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Every week's the same for me.
It shouldn't be the same. I mean, weeks have, peaks and valleys like everything else. Right?
Not so much when you retire. When you retire, the days start to run together.
Right.
And, sometimes I gotta look around and try to figure out what day it is.
Right.
The only day I'm sure of is Sunday. Sunday because of two reasons. I might go to church.
Right.
One. And two, football.
Right.
Football. NFL football is going to be on Sunday. But
any other day they kind of run together.
Oh, yeah. Saturdays are just like Mondays. Or Tuesdays or Wednesdays. They're all the same at this point.
So that's what I can expect in the retiree
life.
Yes,
that's what you can expect. That's a good thing, too. You don't have to worry about the dates and times. And so, people ask me, what day is that? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what day it is or date. I don't keep up with that stuff anymore.
Right.
When you're working, as you know, that's imperative.
Yes.
You got to know what day, time, you got deadlines to make and all that kind of stuff. So,
right.
Not so much.
Right. Well, it's interesting because, I'm adjusting to, being older, I think, pretty well. I enjoy my senior citizen discounts at I go to Golden Corral or places like that. You get it's a pretty good benefit.
Now, wait a minute. Now, when's the last time you've been to Golden Corral? You're not a buffet person at all.
No, not really.
Last time you've been to Golden Corral? You mean other places when they give you?
No. I got to go Golden Corral on occasion. Oh,
really?
When I'm pressed to, things are really hectic at the office. I only have a few minutes. I can go out there and grab something quick off the buffet. And
you get something to go?
No. I sit down there for about a few minutes and then do my thing. Get on out of there.
Even Myron wouldn't believe that.
Yeah.
He said he goes to the Golden Corral buffet from time to time. MP1 now.
Really? That doesn't really seem like you.
You must be, judging by your size, you must be going and just looking at the food.
Yeah.
You're not really eating.
I think Golden Corral making their money off it. Yeah, that's what they like to see. He'll get one plate.
Because Golden Corral's not cheap like it used to be.
Yeah.
The buffet used to be.
They charge them buffet.
When you got to really do some eating now to eat that $14, $15 worth of food.
Right.
you got to put in some time eating.
Yeah, it's for the seniors. It's $11.50 or something like that.
That's not bad.
It's not
bad
at
all. That's right around the place right where you.
That also, I think, includes the drink as well. So, and they'll ever give me a hard time. Just say, I'm a senior. They go ahead and do me up. It's a. And there are degrees, there are levels to this too. So I can't remember who explained this to me. He said, "Well, if you're in your 60s, you are what's considered a young elder."
Right.
Yeah, so I'm a young elder. And then when you hit 70, then you're considered an elder, like that. So I'm in the young elder status.
Okay,
so
hold on.
What do they consider senior citizen? What age is that now? Is that 55
it
or
varies.
60?
It varies.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So at 58,
for the AARP, they hit you up at 55.
Yeah.
Okay.
And boy, do they hit you up.
Right.
They hit you up, baby.
Boy, do they hit you up.
And then for a lot of places it's 60, some places it's 62, and other places it's 65. It just depends on who you're dealing with.
65, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it used to be 65 across the board.
Right.
But then a lot of institutions like AARP or whatever, they want to grow the membership.
Right.
So they get the number down to 55.
Right.
And most discounts really kind of start at 55 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So you guys are still, still in the middle age, right? You can still say you're middle-aged men, but once that 6 comes,
58.
Once that 6 comes,
A little bit different.
right?
I tell you now, 58's no spring chicken.
That's for sure.
That's not like 38. Right. or even 48.
Right.
Let's get on up there a little bit now.
The thing is no, we all know that as we get older, things start popping up that you had no warning about, that you were fine today, and then tomorrow something pops up you didn't expect, and you're like, where did that come from? Well, that's one of the things. But another thing about getting a little older is that when you get sick for whatever reason, we might have a cold or bronchitis or things like that. You always ask yourself, well, this might be it.
This might be it. That's right. Because something like that can take you out.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So when you get older, when you
There's
get
other
sick,
consideration.
Yeah, when you
New
get,
consideration.
Right. Yeah. When you get sick, you it may only be temporarily, but you think about it. You're like,
I guess the thing that really bothers me about getting older is the list. And when I say the list, okay, so there's two lists. There's one list of the things that you can do, and one list of the things that you can't do. And when you're younger, the list of things that you can't do is very short.
Right.
You cannot do it. And the list that you can do is very long. But as you get older,
that switch roles.
There's a whole lot of things now at 58 I can't do.
Yeah.
and so now it's not even even Steven. The can't do list is kind of getting up there.
Right.
It
things
depends on what things you're trying to do.
And then on top of that, you have to really be careful at this age, about hurting yourself in some way, breaking something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the recovery time, you're not going to
very
recover
slow.
for it. But the recovery time is going to be a little longer.
Right. And you're not going to recover fully either, not 100%. So
So I look at, and I always gauge. Sometimes I gauge things in terms of football players. Football players, they're playing with broke stuff.
All the time.
The quarterback the other day was playing with a broke fibula.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fracture. Yeah. He balling. And so I'm saying myself, that must be painful. And then the recovery time for most things. They'll say, well, he broke his thumb or he broke his ankle.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be out 6 weeks. 6 weeks for a broken ankle?
Yeah.
If you break your ankle at 58, you're going to be out 6 months.
But a lot
at a minimum.
At a minimum.
a lot of times, and even for regular folks, but certainly for football players, them injuries, they come back later.
Oh yeah,
no
they
doubt.
they have shorter lifespans in the general
literally,
population.
like NFL players literally have shorter lifespans.
See, back and then, I hurt my shoulder. Marsh knows about that. I hurt my shoulder playing football. And, it felt like it popped out the socket. So when I came to the sidelines.
Yeah, it was against E. Smith, wasn't it?
No, that was against someone else. That was my senior.
No, it was E. Smith when you had the thumb injury.
When I broke my thumb.
Yeah.
We played with a broken thumb.
Right.
Too.
It was until you had yourself pulled out of the game.
Yeah.
You held up the hand and come out. That's what you did.
I was in pain. All I know is I was in pain. And that was a thumb. But anyway, so I went to the sidelines with the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And so the trainer comes over there and pops my shoulder back in.
Yeah.
And
you
looks
back
at the
in
coach.
the game.
He's good to go.
Yeah.
But now that same shoulder is hurting me
Yeah.
all the time. I don't have full range of motion. The same shoulder. So I cannot imagine these professional football players and even big time college football players. They sustain all them injuries.
Oh yeah.
And then later on in life they can't walk, they can't do certain things. And then football players have a shorter lifespan than the average American.
Yeah.
So I think it was Emmitt Smith, one of them, one of those running backs that said
Smith.
That it's like a ton of several mini car crashes.
That's right. That's correct.
In the game.
He says that playing football on Sunday was like being in like 10 or 15 car crashes.
That's right. And they
day.
actually have done data on that, statistics, and the level of injury that you get. It's a minor car crash. You're not talking about flying off an interstate bridge, but it's the fender benders, is what we call it. Every tackle is like that.
Right.
Everyone. And so you got Emmitt Smith. He carried the ball a whole lot of times.
A whole bunch of times.
For a long time.
For a long
many
time.
years.
Long career.
He had a good transition though, Dancing with the Stars. I saw him on a commercial the other day.
So he's on Dancing with the Stars?
He was, yeah. He's one of the more well-known ones, but now he's making commercials based on him having been on Dancing.
In the words of Dave Chappelle, when you get that call from
Dancing
people
with
Dancing with Stars, your career's over. You're done. You've done all you can do, and here you are.
Did he say that?
Yeah. He said that he got that call. Dave Chappelle said he got the call from Dancing with the Stars, and he told him, "Nah, not right now." It was after he left, the comedy center. He says, "When you get that call, your career's over. Whatever you were doing that you were successful at, it's over. And this is the last resort."
That was a good transition with Emmitt Smith. Though. It was funny. So, have y'all intercept the topic?
No, we hadn't done it.
I want to talk briefly about Notre Dame whining about getting cut from the college football playoff. They're changing that next year, right? Are they changing it to a 16-team format, something like that? But
They are.
I mean, really, the Notre Dame AD just kind of went over the top with his criticism. So we'll talk a little bit about pushback against that. In more serious news, in my opinion, the Obamacare subsidies are set to expire at the end of the month, and these are how a lot of people afford health insurance.
Right.
2 bills that came to the Senate this week, one on the Democratic side, one on the Republicans, were both shot down by the Republican-led chamber. So I don't know what happens right now, but currently there's no subsidies approved. So we'll see what happens there.
It's not going.
What's going to happen with that is what we all talked about was going to happen on the show. They're going to be allowed to expire. The Republicans had no intent. We had no plans to renegotiate anything.
Which is again why I'm not
Democrats
getting.
gave up their position.
Sounds like we're talking about the topic. Well, I'm trying to just set up.
Go ahead and finish setting it up.
Right.
And I notice that always comes up when I get ready to speak.
Yeah, I gave a whole thought on it.
That's just coincidence. And then we'll talk about what the elections board is doing. Now, the elections board has now become a partisan board.
Oh,
It just has.
certainly.
It wasn't like that, but it isn't like that now. It got
Correct.
changed by the Republican lawmakers, and now they're pressuring the DMV to share information from drivers. It gets full Social Security numbers, and that's causing a lot of consternation.
That's the North Carolina Election Board.
That's the North Carolina Elections Board, right? So we'll talk a little bit about the implications of that. And then, time permitting, I figure we can do one of these stories out of Chapel Hill. One's about the school system, that we're getting grilled by the same North Carolina General Assembly Republican lawmakers because they believe the district is not complying with the Parents' Bill of Rights. Or we could talk about the UNC situation where black students, and I was a black student at UNC back in the day, how since the Supreme Court
That's a good one.
has said that you can't, use affirmative action.
The numbers are going down.
Well, the numbers are really going down. As a matter of fact, looking at the numbers, they remind me when I was in school at Chapel Hill well over 30 years ago. So that's not the right direction.
I never knew that UNC Chapel Hill had as high numbers of minority enrollment as they did until I read that story.
Yeah.
So
they do pretty good. They've done a pretty decent job recruiting minority students.
And now they're
now they're heading
going
the
back
being
opposite
forced
direction.
into backward
which
progress.
is what it was intended to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So real quick on the Notre Dame thing. Notre Dame, of course, is independent in football. Now, 24 of their sports are part of the ACC.
Including basketball.
But not football. So they're independent. So when it comes down to picking competitors for the bowl playoff, they got the short end. They feel. In particular, it came down between a lot of people believe between Miami, which is in the ACC,
Who beat them?
who beat them in the first game, I think, maybe
Correct.
the first
or second game. Right.
and Notre Dame. And the controversy, if you will, comes in because though Miami did beat them over the course of the season, Notre Dame has consistently been ranked ahead of Miami. But when it came down to picking the teams, which I think was last Sunday, if I'm not mistaken,
last Sunday at noon,
they picked they picked Miami instead. But what really angered the Notre Dame community, not just missing the game, but the ACC specifically sided with Miami's bid over Notre Dame and kind of took some shots, pointed out that head-to-head, Miami beat them.
What conference is Miami in?
ACC.
Well, what you expect them to do?
Notre Dame's AD says, look, we're in the ACC too,
Not all
just
the way.
not in football.
Not all the way.
And this is what we're
and that's the
talking about,
biggest sport.
Yeah.
So again, it's an imperfect system.
Yeah.
Because we don't pick. So last Sunday they picked the 12 teams they thought should play in the college football playoffs. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a round, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and all that kind of stuff. So they picked the 12 teams that they thought should be in
the playoff, right.
Those are not. If you look at that, they're not the 12 best teams. You've got James Madison in there. No one believes that James Madison is a top 12 team in the country.
Right.
You've got
JM, you made it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They did, yeah. As a matter of fact, that came down to the Duke who they play in the Virginia game.
Virginia.
Because Duke was playing Virginia. Now, in the ACC championship,
Right.
if Virginia had won that game, they would be because Duke has lost 5 times, but Duke upset them, played role of spoiler, and that's how the JMU team got.
And then you also have Tulane.
Is in there.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
you have to say it like
Tulane has been.
If there's any Tulane fans out there, I don't know.
Nothing against Tulane.
No, Tulane can play a little ball.
Yeah, they can play some ball.
Nothing against Tulane. Nothing against Tulane.
I can tell by the way you just said that.
What I'm saying to you is, does anyone around this room or around the country believe that Tulane is a top 12 team? That's what we're talking about.
Top 12.
They get into the same thing that we get into in basketball.
Yeah.
They take a conference champion.
Right.
Versus the best team.
Yeah.
Every time a team has a conference champion does not mean that they should be in the college football playoffs.
Right.
If you're going to pick
some people actually thought ACC was not going to get any team in.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You remember a few years ago when, what was it, who was it? Was it
Florida State.
It was Florida State.
They had an undefeated season.
They had an undefeated season. They didn't get in. And the committee said to themselves, well, they undefeated, but they're not rightfully one of the best 12 teams.
Yeah.
Now, Notre Dame has to say to themselves, if they want to try to get in, they've got to get into a conference in football.
Yeah.
Notre Dame has said they won't want to get into a conference because in football, when you go into the conference championship and go through the rounds, you get all the money because you're an independent.
Right.
The ACC has to share the money.
It's the split,
SEC
which is how it should be in a conference.
Which is how it should be in a conference. So you want all the money, and now you get all the disclaim.
Yeah.
Because they didn't pick you in. And then on top of that, I mean, Notre Dame lost those first 2 games. A lot of people thought they wouldn't get as high as they did.
Yeah.
They lost the first. They were 0-2 out the gate.
I'm less sympathetic.
Aren't you guys in?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
In Tulane in the conference with East Carolina?
My point exactly. My point exactly. Listen, all I'm saying is every conference should get somebody.
It's the American Athletic Conference, and Tulane. I've heard the Green Wave can get pretty serious sometimes. They play some decent football.
You're going to see how good the Tulane Green Wave is next week.
Yeah, well, there's good football teams, and then there's teams that actually have a shot at winning the national championship.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. And you know, even when they're going to reconfigure this format, the current idea is expanded to 16 teams,
which is too many.
No, it's not. You can still going to have controversies. I don't think it's too many. You're still going to have controversy. You're always going to have controversy.
Right.
I mean, look, the NCAA has 64 team field plus 4, and there's always
people complain about being left out.
You're always going to have that. But I think you have fewer if you don't have fewer controversies, if you don't have so many locked in conference games. And there are 2 models that were being talked about, and one of them is even more weighted for the next iteration of it, 16 teams. One of them is even more weighted to conference winners. And then the other one has not quite half, but almost half the field is not tied to a conference. And I think that if you just like football, I think that's the plan that they should go with. But, you know, it's still being talked about.
Well, you should have some conference berths and then some wild card berths.
Wild card berths, right.
And every year we have the same conversation when it comes to the college football playoffs. And one of the reasons why
it's better than it was.
Yeah, much better. They used to just team 4 teams.
Yeah,
right.
And you had 4 teams is almost. And then before that, no teams.
That's right.
Right.
The top 2. And those top 2 played each other.
Pick 1 and 2.
Right. Everybody else was out. So it is much better than it was. But every year you have the same conversation. They look at the SEC and they say, well, and the Big Ten, how many teams are we going to let them get in? Because you look at Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah.
You look at all the other teams. You know, LSU, they didn't make it this year, but you got all those teams, Arkansas, Auburn. You got all those teams in the SEC. They're playing a battlefield.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Alabama can go 10-3.
Yeah.
Lose 1 more game than Notre Dame. And then, you know, they made it into the college football playoffs. I mean, it's just a tougher schedule.
And Alabama was also as part of this conversation because they are one of the teams that clearly made it in instead of Notre Dame. What people were pointing out, the conferences are very conscious that they don't want the championship game to punish a team.
Yeah.
Like if the season had stopped and there had been no championship game, which Alabama lost, by the way, they got beat by Georgia, right?
Right.
Not just anybody. Georgia.
Yeah, they got beat pretty handily.
They got beat by
But
Georgia.
if the season had
Right.
stopped before that championship game, they definitely would have been in. And so people were like, well, should they be punished if they lose to Georgia, who, is obviously ranked ahead of them? And plus, it's an extra game. And so, so it was perceived that the committee did not want them to be punished for that loss and put Alabama in.
And a Georgia team that they had beat previously.
That's true. They had beaten the team earlier.
Georgia.
Sure had, right.
My litmus test is always the same. If you take these teams that you put into this playoff series, you have to ask yourself, can this team win it all? Can this team, because there's only 12 of them, can this team win it all? And I think we can say with confidence that Tulane.
I'm not going to say that because I don't know
what the Green Wave is capable of.
I will say this.
So the one, let me
I'm almost hoping they win. So we can bring that up in a future show.
Let me tell you the one person who's seen
bring our surfboard in.
The one person
riding the wave.
The one person on this little round table who's seen the Green Wave play is me. I've seen the Green Wave play more than once. They are a very good football team.
Right.
You line the Green Wave up against Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State,
Mississippi,
Indiana this year, who's undefeated. The Green Wave gonna get a shellacking.
That's right. Indiana is actually number 1 this year, right now.
They are very good football.
Should be some good football.
My goodness,
separate from all.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good football team.
So,
it's gonna be some very good. So, but bottom line is Notre Dame needs to get into a conference.
All right, we need to go,
and that's the pressure that's being put on.
And we need to go to break right now. We'll be right back with MP3.
This is Sarah Alford, and I am the pastor of Joy Fellowship Outreach Ministry located at 18336 Highway 87 West, Tar Heel, North Carolina. And I am excited to be a part of Wake Up.
The Federal Reserve this week cut its influential interest rate for the third time this year, pointing to a job market that Chairman Jerome Powell said may be weaker than it appears. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday aimed at blocking states from crafting their own regulations for artificial intelligence. After 47 days on the run, deputies located and captured murder suspect Dominic Conley about 35 miles from the scene of his grandmother's death. Conley was caught in Craven County, north of Vanceboro, in an abandoned structure on Thursday morning. Many of the nation's leading physician groups are criticizing the decision by a CDC advisory panel picked by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over infant vaccines. State health officials announced on Wednesday there has been an increase in flu activity and flu-related deaths this season in North Carolina. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Peter Killeen, WIDU Radio News. Authorities arresting a woman this week in connection with a Cumberland County shooting involving a deputy last month. November 25th, about 6:30 p.m., Cumberland County Sheriff's Office went to a domestic call on the 6700 block of Camden Road in Fayetteville. When deputies got there, they say they came across a person with a knife, later identified as 46-year-old Dorothy Simpkins of Fayetteville. A deputy instructed her to drop the knife, but Simpkins lunged toward the deputy with it. That's when the deputy shot Simpkins, who was taken to a hospital for treatment. Simpkins charged this week with assault with a deadly weapon on a family member and felony assault with a deadly weapon on a government official. Fayetteville residents encouraged to apply for upcoming vacancies for the city's boards and commissions. Boards and commissions made up of volunteers appointed by City Council to serve as advisors who help shape Fayetteville's policies and programs. A great way for residents to engage in the community. Some boards may require appointees to have a special license or meet certain professional requirements. From WIDU Radio, I'm Peter Killeen.
We'll be on the lookout this morning for some flurries in our northern counties up into southern Virginia. There could be a light dusting on elevated surfaces. Mostly cloudy, otherwise partly cloudy toward the Fayetteville area. The high in the mid-40s to low 50s. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight and cold. The low in the low to mid-30s. Warmer for your Saturday. Mostly sunny with mid-50s to about 60 for the highs. Partly to mostly cloudy on Sunday, windy and colder with temperatures falling through the day. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team. Join Wake Up.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Greetings, everyone. This is Bishop Larry O. Wright Sr. Merry Christmas from everyone at Heal the Land Outreach Ministries, located at 414 Hall Street. We would like to take this opportunity to wish you and your family a safe holiday season. May the love and the warmth of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you on this very special time of the year. Let's all remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry Christmas from Heal the Land Outreach Ministries, 414 Hall Street. Our Sunday services, morning worship at 11.
This is Bishop Johnny Ray Jr. of the Churches of Worship Worldwide, Apostle J.A. McDonough, 2118 Owen Drive. And we are proud to be a part of the Wake Up. Come and join the team.
And we are back with Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
And Myron Pitts.
And we are MP3. Thanks for tuning in to Marshall, Module, and Myron, your trio of talk radio. For those just tuning in, we certainly welcome your calls should you choose to do so and participate in our conversations. The numbers to call in, 910-483-6111, 910-483-6111. Now, before the break, we just wrapped up a little section on football, but call you Miles, like our mother always calls you Miles instead of Myron, the MYs.
Yeah.
But Myron, we're getting ready to go to the Affordable
I don't never had that problem. I always remember my name.
Affordable Care Act.
She never calls me anybody else, just Module.
That's not true.
It's not true.
I didn't know you weren't there. You weren't there. Maybe she just fumbles y'all
We've
two
been
names.
around our
Myron
mother,
and
we know that she does that all the time with everybody.
Yeah, sometimes she cycles through
the whole list,
all
the men in the house.
Like she could be looking at me, Miles, Marshall, Myron. You know, so, yeah, that's me. So ACA, Affordable Care Act, also called Obamacare, I think by both people who love it and people who claim not to like it. They all call it Obamacare. So the subsidies are set to expire. And I always explain the subsidies like this. It's not an exact correlation. But if you get health care through your employer, whether it's the state or in my case a private company, they pay a big chunk of it.
Correct.
And then you pay some, and that's how it's affordable.
Correct.
Obamacare works very similar, not the same, but similar, but there's not an employer. The government pays subsidies, so you can afford it. And we all know, I know in this listening audience and in every listening audience, they know how expensive health care is. Anything from having a baby to other kinds of major surgery. So those subsidies are set to expire at the end of the month. This, by the way, was what the government shutdown was also about. The Democrats are trying to get a vote on these subsidies in the bill to keep the government open, and the GOP just wasn't having it, and they won that round.
So let me ask you, what are they getting out of it? When you look back, not as hindsight, what did the Democrats really get by caving in with the with the shutdown.
If they
because all they got was a promise to vote. That doesn't. And we know which way the vote was going to go. So what did they get out of it?
The ones who caved, so to speak, for lack of a better, there is a better term. The ones who decided to vote for Republicans.
I like
cave.
I like cave.
Okay. What they say they wanted was, because you remember SNAP was stopped. And so they did get the SNAP program going again. And that's exactly the leverage that Republicans wanted to use on them. And it worked. And that's not a small thing, because that's people eating, especially around the holidays. You know? So I think their knees got a little weak. But politically, I don't think they got much. The one thing I would say is this. Consistent polls have shown that the Democrats are winning the shutdown and really the economic argument right now. Polls show that they believe the Democrats and not the Republicans. We don't know how it's going to go with these subsidies, because when you start talking about a lot of people, what they will do is they will cancel their health insurance.
Right.
They just won't be able to afford it.
Right.
So we have to look at that. And it comes at a time when, interestingly enough, enrollment for Obamacare is at an all-time high. It actually went up since last time. So people really do like the Affordable Care Act.
It's generally increased every year. You know, it's like one of those programs, whether it be Social Security or Medicare, unpopular with a lot of folks when these programs first start out, but over time, people get more comfortable and they use them and expect them.
Right. That's the key point. So 2 bills came before the Senate, and one of them was from the Democratic side. So what that sought was a 3-year extension of the subsidies. So let's pass this for 3 years. We ain't got to worry about it. I think, as a matter of fact, that's the election year at that point.
Right.
So that failed 51-48. Now that's a pretty close vote. So that means some Republicans switched over to vote for that. And I know both of Alaska's senators did. Susan Collins up in Maine, I think one or two others, but it failed 51-48. So Republicans tried one, their version, that would put money into health savings accounts.
Yes.
For people to pay for health insurance that way. And it would end the current subsidy program, just to clarify. And throw some tax credits in there. That also failed, 51-48. All Democrats voted against it, and I think 2 or 3 Republicans voted against it, and that was enough. So all that happened in the last couple days. The deadline is looming. Where do we think this is going, fellas?
So I don't think anything's going to be done.
No.
I think the deadline will pass, the subsidies will expire, and there'll be no substitute plan to do anything with.
What about, and I don't know the answer to this question, what about the millions of people relying on this
You've already answered that. Some of them will try to squeeze that into their budget. It's going to be doing a lot of squeezing,
and some of them won't be able to.
And some of them will just drop it. A large portion. So if you're talking about your health care going up $300 or $400, there's not a lot of people in America
that
can just swallow that.
Right.
For an extended period of time.
Right.
They might be able to do it for a couple of months if they've got something coming up and they need to do it. But for an extended period, and then that puts them back in the position of, then they're all of a sudden not going to the doctor again.
Right.
They're not doing those things, those type of things.
And even those that stay on, some of those will, instead of the kind of coverage they had before, they'll do some kind of reduced coverage to make it more affordable for them. So they don't have, they're not as protected as they would have been had they, had the subsidies to go along with it.
Exactly.
So.
I'm glad you pointed out this will mean that healthcare will rise to by factors of hundreds of dollars. Some people's premiums will double or even triple if these subsidies expire.
I dislike the Democrats' messaging when it comes to, and we talked about that on this show before. You should I don't even know if you should be using words like subsidies.
I know.
You should be saying
call it ACA.
Don't call it ACA.
Right.
Your health care is going to go up.
Yeah.
And it's going to go up by an average of this much, and it's going to affect this many people, and then move on.
Yeah.
Move on from that. You should be hammering that message. The Republicans' message was simply, it costs too much.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they were saying. It costs too much. No other plan, no other anything invested into this. It just costs too much. You have to simplify the message for the American
and of
people.
course, they always tag on, and there's a lot of fraud and waste and all that stuff with the program.
Anything to kind of undermine it.
Right.
The Republicans have spent weeks supposedly debating an alternative health care bill, and they just released the bill Tuesday. So what has been going on this whole time, no one can say. And people who are familiar with how the healthcare system works, the experts, they have said that even if the GOP passes this plan of health savings accounts, there's no time to implement it. Like, you can't just flip a switch and suddenly, because you're talking at that point a completely different healthcare plan than the ACA, than Obamacare. So
this may be
there's that. So as Jack Reed, who's a Democrat in Rhode Island, he put it plainly, the solution is simple. Extend the affordable health care tax credits. That's really the only solution available that can have people covered come January.
This is the one, I forgot how many times the Republicans since it was enacted have tried to kill the ACA.
A number of times.
Yeah, so many times. But I really think this time around, they may have the tools to gut it this time, as far as millions of people getting off of it.
I'm gonna go you one step further.
This might work this time.
I'm gonna go you one step
Just
further.
not do anything.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. For the Republicans, it's not so much about the cost; it's that it is still Obamacare, and I really do believe that they want to do whatever they can to get rid of Obamacare. Now, if they bring back the next health, and it's close to what Obamacare is, but it's something else altogether different.
It could be the same if they call it something else.
If they call it something else. They don't want anything else attached to it. I think that's what they're guiding, because you and I both know that Republicans don't really care about fraud and waste, and they they definitely don't care about the cost of some health care for some person who's trying to get health care. So it's something else.
They also know that any money they could put in a health care savings account is not going to cover anything catastrophic. It won't cover a pregnancy. It won't cover anything hard.
Right.
They're not. The government is not going to give people sufficient money to actually pay for health care. I mean, let's just be honest about that.
That's the reason why health care is set up, whether it be Obamacare or whatever. That's the reason why 401ks are set up. It takes money out because they know people are not going to be able to save the type of money that they would. That's the reason why those things are set up that way. Deferred compensations, they take money out your check so they can put it to the side for you and then still give you your check. If you're asking the American public, who spends every dollar that they have, if you're asking them to put
in many
aside,
cases by necessity.
By necessity.
Yeah. Right.
And because of the high cost of everything in America. And then I'm listening to a story about the soccer that's coming to, the FIFA Cup's coming to, I guess, next year. World Cup's coming to next year. And they were talking about America's chances since it was going to be in America and stuff like that.
No chance.
They have no chance.
Zero.
They're going to get waxed like they always do. So, but the point of this was how much the tickets were going to cost. Not for the championship game, not for the semifinals, quarterfinals, way down the line, $1,000 a seat, and not for a good seat.
Right.
Wow.
Not for a good seat.
I didn't know that.
It's
gone
up.
A seat, period. Just a seat anywhere. So they were trying to determine was that FIFA set that, or was it America because of how much stuff costs in America, or what? And they were just kind of going back and forth about that.
Yeah, and that's prices are rising. This is just another thing that Americans don't need. Grocery prices are up year over year.
Right.
The rate of increase has slowed a little bit, but prices are up. And so there's a lot of strain on the American economy
prices go up,
right now. They don't go
back down.
Did you know that?
They don't go back down.
That's actually true.
They do not go back down.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking to someone who's studies grocery price and stuff, and the host asked the person, can we expect to see grocery prices return to what they were? And he's like, bad news, they don't. He said it happened one time, I think a few years ago, and that was rare. Grocery prices actually slid back a little bit. He said that was the first time it had happened in 50 years. He says once grocery prices are where they are, they stay, and then they eventually go up. What needs to happen, he said, or what usually does happen, is that people's wages go up to cover that.
To kind of cover it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, that's it's not just groceries.
Yeah.
It's anything. When you're talking about cars, houses, whatever.
With one small exception.
What?
Gas prices go back down.
Gas prices kind of will slide back.
But
I don't think we're ever going to see $2 again.
Oh, no. No.
So the trend line
it's
is
always trending up. But you know, if Republicans, like you pointed out, Myron, they just need to repackage Obamacare, just put out this is the newest knock plan that we've come up with. It's great, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Not mean not Obamacare.
Yeah.
That's called a knock plan. This is a not Obamacare. This is new and great, but it's the same stuff.
And they have the perfect egotistical party leader who would be all for that.
Oh yeah.
Right now, Trump has not really, and this is another thing, by the way, and we haven't mentioned him, but this is another thing that has caused such a delay. Trump is not really weighing in strongly on either plan. He kind of has said favorable things about the Republican plan, but he hasn't really been all in on it.
Right.
And reporters, even reporters who cover Trump, were just saying they don't know exactly where he stands on it. See, if you were to say to Trump, if the GOP were to go to him, hey, we're going to call this the Trump gold plan, whatever you want to call it, it could be basically the same stuff. You know, you could change a few things here and there to turn it around and name it after him. He would probably back it. But right now he is just another wild card. So I have to unfortunately agree with you two. I think the subsidies are going to expire. I do think Republicans will take a large share of the blame, and they already had in a recent election where a blue wave just wiped every Republican out who was trying to do something. So it could affect them in the midterms, but in the meantime, you got people suffering.
Right.
It always, and I know we're going to move on from this topic, but it always amazes me how little it appears that our government, whether it be local, state, or federal, care about people suffering. When you start talking about the shutdown and SNAP, that's talking about people not eating,
right?
Not having food to feed their family. When you're talking about health care, you're talking about not
losing their insurance. You're talking about people, some people dying.
Yeah, that's right.
At the end of the day, I mean, that's just what it really boils down to.
Yeah.
Some people dying.
So we'll see. Maybe something will happen, but time is getting short. So let's talk a little bit about the. Are we talking UNC? Or are we talking
the
DOD?
UNC?
Let's talk UNC. UNC Chapel Hill, my alma mater. They have had serious negative effects from court decisions and the general tone of the Trump administration in rolling back affirmative action and such. DEI. Against DEI. And they talked to some of and so what it has led in Chapel Hill specifically, at UNC, is lower enrollment of black students. And there's a great story, I would check it out if you can. It's by WUNC Public Radio, where they talk to a lot of the black students who are there. And they talk, in particular, they interviewed Mr. Samuel Scarborough, who's a student at UNC. And he says, according to this account, he knew something was different when he stepped into what they call the Black Convocation at UNC Chapel Hill earlier this fall. He said there were not nearly as many black students as there was in the past, and it was a trend he has also noticed other places on campus. Quote, I've seen the drop-offs in my classes. I've seen the drop-offs in some of our on-campus cultural events. I've seen the drop-offs in just walking around campus, Scarborough said. I've seen a lot less black students, and that's something that really challenges not only mine, but everyone's as black students' sense of belonging here. And they talked to several students who report very similar things. The students held a rally ahead of the Board of Governors vote back in May to eliminate DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion offices. And of course, that vote still went through. That was in May 23rd, 2024. Scarborough, who was interviewed again for this story, says that taking away the DEI supports has been challenging his sense of belonging at Carolina. And, it's difficult for me to hear that because when I was a student there back in the early to mid 90s, it was pretty low black enrollment. And so I've actually been heartened to see the changes since then. It had gotten up to 10.6% before the Supreme Court ruling. And that's not gangbusters.
It was how much before?
10.6% just prior to the Supreme Court
That's
ruling.
1 out of every 10, though. That's
I
not
know,
bad.
I know. I mean, but it's way better than when I was there.
Right. I would wonder what East Carolina, because I know it wasn't 1 out of every 10 when I was there, but I don't know what it is now.
But with most of the
Appalachian State either, I'm sure.
Yeah, but with most of the schools, they are a lot of the schools. They're showing a 2, 3, 4, 5% drop,
and that's significant.
And that's significant.
Yeah,
that's significant.
Which was the point too.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted to do.
Right,
Which was the point. So it's working like the people who wanted to get rid of DEI and those type things. It's working like they wanted it to work.
Yeah,
and so.
Yeah.
And so there we go.
And it does affect the sense of community for a school. And you got to remember, UNC Chapel Hill, all the schools we went to, ECU, Appalachian State, are state schools.
Right.
And state schools, state universities have the same mandate that K-12 schools in our state is. Part of that mandate should be educating the people of this state. And that means all the people.
Right.
It shouldn't be... It's not like an exclusive Ivy League experience. I mean, these are state schools, so it should reflect the diversity that's out there in the community, and they were doing in the state, and they were doing that until recently. So, in this court's turn against affirmative action, I think we should also point out really even preceded the current Donald Trump administration. This goes back to a couple years ago, I think, when that decision came down. And this conservative court, well, it doesn't precede Donald Trump because his appointees are what shifted the balance. His Supreme Court justice appointees. He's appointing a third of the court.
Right. 3
out of 9 justices.
Right.
I
don't think that's ever happened
timing
before.
And all kinds of politics. We all know the backstory there. So the court is now 6-3, and for years now it has been very unfavorable to the idea of affirmative action, and now we're seeing the effects.
And now DEI.
And now DEI, which to me is all part of the same.
Parts of the same package. Yeah. It's I don't know where it's going to end, but it's going to, like, kids who are going to college now and who are young adults, it's going to have a tough hill to climb for them. Tough hill to climb over the next 20, 30 years, because all the controversies that occur in the country end up where all the big things that need to be decided, they end up in the courts. And if the courts are being constructed the way that they have been constructed, President Trump appointed a gazillion judges during his first term, and I expect a gazillion more during this term, and they tend to be, if I remember correctly, over 90% ultra-type conservative white men that are getting appointed to the bench. And so, and these are not old guys that are getting appointed. These are young guys.
Right. It'll be there
and so they're going to be there for a while.
So federal appointments are
life.
Yeah.
Life.
Right. So not just the Supreme Court, federal. So
life.
And as I've said before, and I'll say it again on this show, as long as we're on this show, everyone needs term limits.
You believe in term limits.
Supreme Court too. We need term limits.
Right.
Make them whatever you want the term limits to be. If you want it to be 20 years, make it 20 years.
Right.
But a person should not be able to get in a seat and just sit there, no matter how he votes, forever.
Yeah.
And then so he's forever coming down with bad voting stuff.
Yeah.
Forever. And he's 35 40, 45 years old. He lives to be 105. And then he is just, it just doesn't make sense. And so
of course, with people living longer, you actually really see scenarios,
especially
I think if you look at them, and I'm not sure of this, I haven't looked at any research, but your Supreme Court justices tend to live a little longer.
Oh yeah,
they don't die young.
When life is good. Life is good.
You're reading,
you reading stuff, and you're not even reading the stuff. Your people that work for your clerks are one to read the stuff, and they come back to you and tell you what it says, and then you come up with a vote. Federal judges, federal prosecutors, the same way. It's a good gig.
Yeah.
Listen, a judge at any level is a good gig. Right. That's a good gig.
I would say that.
I wouldn't say
like
immigration judges, district court judges. Just
if they're that bad, you don't see them jumping off. You don't see them saying, you know what, I'm gonna go back to being an attorney. Do you see them doing that? No, because it's a good gig. It's a good job if you can get it.
I would say that's a little more when you're dealing with people. Like district court, I mean, you're dealing with whatever comes in through your courtroom
that
doors.
Sense of
by
power.
The Supreme Court level, even the lawyers, you're really dealing with kind of academic types,
Yeah,
You can have these sort of, highfalutin conversations, and if you heard Supreme Court settings, they don't allow cameras in there yet, but if you can listen to them. It really is like a conversation between the justices and the lawyers. So it does sound like a fun time if you're one of these, legal-minded people, which they all would be.
But see, this is the thing, though.
And like you said, the clerks do the research.
It's not only good stuff. You pontificating. Y'all talking to each other about whatever.
That's right.
About whatever. And then no matter what your ruling is, can't nobody do anything to you. So it's not like there's any pressure.
They can't do a single thing.
Like a district court judge, at least you might need to go to
That's right.
You might have to go before the people because
or
of
other
that you
federal
did.
judges you can get overturned, but not the Supreme Court.
But the Supreme Court, they can say what they want.
They get the final say.
They get the final say, and then they go on back to the yacht. And hang out for a little bit, and then they only work 5-6 months out of the year, 7 months.
Yeah. When they're actively considering cases.
Right, and then the rest of the time they chilling.
So you're explaining why they have such long lives.
Oh, that's why they live. No
not
stress.
Like an NFL player
There's
out
no
there,
stress.
broken fibulas.
Oh no, you're not playing with broken bones.
which goes back to why that's one of the most influential things that President Trump has done.
That's true.
Over all this other stuff he's done, it's all controversial and this and that. Getting all those Supreme Court appointees on the bench and on the federal bench will change the direction of this country.
And is really to my disappointment, even for a conservative court, they have dramatically increased the power of the presidency.
Oh yes.
If you want to talk about something the founders did not want, because they were trying to escape a king,
right?
So they didn't want anything that was king-like,
right?
And they are even looking at, based on oral arguments, the decisions will come out later. But it even sounds like they'll give them more power, the presidency, more power over like independent inspectors.
And also maybe some unlimited terms too. You just never know.
You never know.
Right. All right, the only thing we need to change all of that is another brother coming through. You get another brother president.
You'll all snap back.
All 9 of them will flip on that. All 9 of them will turn that back.
I think American history would support you.
Right. We got to get out of here. I want to thank you for tuning in. I am Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And we are MP3. Have a great weekend, everybody.